Hey everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. I have an update to share on days 5 and 6 of the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. A second victim testified on day 6 of her trial, but the judge explained to the jury that they shouldn't consider her to be a victim. So this is someone that I've mentioned before. It's a situation I mentioned in a previous segment about the Maxwell trial. This woman who was referred to in court only as Kate, she was technically of legal age in London when she was initially violated by Epstein and Maxwell. So the judge ruled, or I should say just by Epstein, she didn't allege that Maxwell took part in that violation, but I'm going to explain why her testimony is so important anyway. But the judge ruled in a pretrial hearing that Kate would not qualify as a victim because she was 17. Apparently in London, that's the legal age. So I find London's laws to be abhorrent and unconscionable because of that, but that's how the judge ruled. But Kate was allowed to testify because it establishes a pattern of behavior by Maxwell. And she said that back in 1994, Maxwell lured her into their world basically by telling her that her boyfriend, Jeffrey Epstein, was a philanthropist who liked to help young, talented people. So this was after Kate confided in Maxwell that her mother had a serious health condition and that she had aspirations of pursuing a musical career. So Kate also said that she was impressed by Maxwell at the time. She said that Maxwell seemed very sophisticated and elegant. And Kate was very flattered, obviously, by the attention that Maxwell was giving her. She said that she felt, quote, special when she was around Maxwell, and that she found Maxwell to be, quote, exciting and everything I wanted to be. So Kate was very taken with her, right? And she said she felt that they had a real connection. And she said that several weeks after meeting Maxwell, she invited Kate to meet Epstein. And when Maxwell introduced her to Epstein the first time, Maxwell really talked her up. She bragged about Kate. And she said that nothing, though, took place in that first meeting. There was no sexual contact. There was no abuse at that first meeting. But then weeks later, Maxwell calls Kate and says, oh, by the way, Epstein's massage therapist is canceled. Would you be able to step in? And she asked her, would you, quote, do her a favor? Because she said Kate had such strong hands. So it was during this second meeting that Kate alleges that she was assaulted for the first time. She said that after it all happened, after she was abused by Epstein, she came back downstairs and she said Maxwell seemed excited. And she asked Kate, quote, how did it go? Did you have fun? Was it good? And then later, she traveled to Florida. She went to visit Epstein and Maxwell in Florida, again, because she thought that they could help her. So she went to Epstein's mansion there, and she said that, again, Maxwell walked her to the room, to the massage room, and before she shut the door on Kate and Epstein, she said, quote, have a good time. And after that encounter, Maxwell allegedly told Kate, quote, you're such a good girl. I'm so happy you were able to come. He obviously likes you a lot. I mean, beyond the sexual abuse, alleged sexual abuse, beyond the exploitation of this young girl, think about how twisted this is. This is supposed to be Maxwell's boyfriend, and she's willingly, allegedly, bringing other girls to him for sexual gratification. Think of how twisted of a person you have to be okay with that. I mean, beyond the fact that these are underage girls. So anyway, there was also a schoolgirl's outfit left out for Kate during that visit before she went in to see Epstein. That's significant because prosecutors had introduced into evidence the fact that there were small, and that's a direct quote, small schoolgirl costumes that were found at his property in 2019 when it was raided by the FBI. And those outfits were found on the same floor of his home, not too far from the massage room, quote, massage room. And Kate had also alleged that Maxwell once asked her if she knew of anyone who could, quote, give Epstein a blowjob because it was a lot for her to do. And she supposedly told Kate that Epstein needed sex 3 times a day and, quote, you know what he likes, cute, young, pretty like you. Maxwell also allegedly said that Epstein purchased her New York home for her and that she made mention quite often of her high-profile connections, including specifically, Kate said, Prince Andrew and Donald Trump. Kate also recalled seeing a thin young blonde girl with Epstein and Maxwell in London. She said that there was another young blonde girl, also a thin young girl who she said that was very much younger than her on Epstein's island. And when asked by the prosecutors, you know, why did you keep going back? Why did you stay in touch with them for as long as you did? Kate explained that it was because she knew of their high profile connections and she was fearful of them. She was afraid of what could happen to her if she said no, if she rebuked their advances and refused to do any of this. And more specifically, she said that when she was in Florida, she didn't know how to say no because she didn't know anyone else. She didn't know what they would do to her. She was completely alone, completely isolated. She had no other connections in the state, and possibly, I think, even in the United States in general. So, of course, Maxwell's attorneys are trying to discredit Kate, just as they did with Jane. They brought up the fact that Kate abused drugs and alcohol at one point, and that she had been dating a man that was twice her age when she met Maxwell. Doesn't mean you weren't abused. You know, you could date someone 3 times your age. Doesn't mean that you want some gross guy who is supposed to be helping you to abuse you and take advantage of you. And just as with Jane, the defense attorneys brought up the settlement that Kate received from Epstein's Victims' Compensation Fund. Again, so what? It just proves that, yeah, she was abused. In addition, Maxwell's attorneys tried to object to the schoolgirls' outfits being admitted as evidence, but the prosecutor made the argument that, you know, this is proof that Epstein has an interest in young girls. And her attorney also objected to the admittance of a photo. This is very interesting. It was a photo of Epstein's underage goddaughter. This was admitted into evidence. The photo was displayed right outside of the bedroom that was shared by Epstein and Maxwell, and it showed his goddaughter in her underwear. There was a second photo also admitted into evidence of Epstein's goddaughter also. They objected to that, but like I said, it was admitted. And in that photo, his goddaughter was lying across his lap and he was pulling down her underwear and biting her butt. That photo was kept on Epstein's desk. So they objected, saying, oh, you know, we're worried this is going to make the jury think that he's interested in prepubescent girls. Well, you know, there's stories out there. I mean, this isn't part of the case, but there is a story out there that Jean-Luc Brunel once brought him 2 11-year-old girls as a birthday present. So, yeah, do I think he's interested in prepubescent girls? It seems so. I mean, I don't know that that happened for a fact, but there's, you know, credible stories out there that that happened. I believe it was Virginia Roberts Gouffre who talked about that. So allegedly. Some other items that were submitted as evidence include a large stash of lewd photos. They were of children. There were CDs with handwritten labels on them. Some of them read things like, quote, young, and then they had the name of two girls on it. There was another one titled, quote, miscellaneous nudes 1, and another one that said girl pics nude. They apparently had to use a saw to get into a safe that he had in his property. That's where he had that stuff stashed. That was all found during that 2019 raid of Epstein's New York estate. I should say, too, there was also talk of one of the victims also saying that Epstein took her to meet people like Prince Andrew and Donald Trump. She actually met them through Epstein. So again, these names keep coming up. All right, so I'll let you guys know what happens going forward, but they're saying that this should take about 6 weeks in total. So this is going to go on into the holidays, into the new year. So I'll keep you guys posted. Take care. Thanks so much for watching and listening.